Hello, everyone. I'm Melissa Walkenhauer with Big Magazine. Today, we are talking with Tommy Faucheux, president of LMOGA, the Louisiana Mid-Continent Oil and Gas Association, founded in 1923, is an association exclusively representing all sectors of the oil and gas industry operating in Louisiana and the Gulf of Mexico. Tommy, thank you so much for your time.
Happy to be here.
Awesome. First, tell us about LMOGA and what you guys are all about.
Sure. So I think you said it well. LMOGA is the energy industry trade association in Louisiana. So um, oil and natural gas production across our state in the Gulf of Mexico, all of the companies working in that space are members of ours. And we've been representing them now for 100 years, which we're excited to celebrate this year. But I think it's also important to understand that energy industry is evolving. And so as a trade association, we're not just representing oil and natural gas producers. We're representing energy companies of many different types now. As companies, some of the world's largest and oldest oil and gas companies are starting to look at new forms of energy, renewables, and lower carbon energy production. We're representing a lot of their interests as well. And so whether you're in North Louisiana in the Haynesville Shale, or you're along the Mississippi River and Lake Charles in Southwest Louisiana, working in refineries, along the coast in LNG exports, or down in the Gulf of Mexico, drilling for oil and natural gas, we're your association, and we're here to represent all of those companies.
Awesome. The people of Louisiana definitely thank you for that. So speaking of that, how vital is the oil and gas industry to Louisiana, and how vital is Louisiana's oil and gas industry to the full United States?
Look, it's a great question. The oil and natural gas industry in Louisiana is responsible for a little bit more than a quarter of the state GDP. That's based on numbers taken here just a few years ago. So as part of when you look at the impact on the state economy, it is significant. Our industry is one of the largest employers in the state of Louisiana, which has significant impacts to the state as a whole, but then to parishes and small towns and communities, literally in every corner of Louisiana. When we look at the impact of Louisiana energy here at home is significant. However, we've seen just in recent months, in this last year, as Americans have looked at gasoline prices when they went to the pump, as we've had larger conversations about natural gas supply in the larger petrochemical industry here at home and now around the world, when you start looking at the crisis in Europe because of Russia and Ukraine, oil and natural gas production, energy production in Louisiana is crucial to national security here in the United States. It is crucial to economic security, we believe, here in the United States. And more, when you look from a foreign relations standpoint, Louisiana's ability to support European economies right now, who are some in Ukraine who are obviously under direct attack because of the recent war, but then across Europe because of the cutoff of supply from Russia. Gas produced and exported from Louisiana is supporting a lot of European nations and communities. That's big. That is big for our state. It's big for the energy workers of our state. It's great for our state's economy because we can support people here at home, across the country, and around the world.
Yeah, that's what an impact. So what do you see for the next 100 years for Louisiana in this energy sector?
Well, that has been the fun question. As we have moved into our 100th anniversary year, everyone wants to know, what does the next 100 years look like? And what I often share with them is, well, the good thing is it is easier to see 100 years in the rearview mirror because people here long before us have been recording the history of our industry, which has been just impactful in many, many ways. The future of oil and gas, the future of energy, I think is very exciting. And it's not even what is it going to look like 50 or 100 years from now. It's going to be exciting in the next year. It's going to be exciting in the next 5 to 10 years. We're seeing a great evolving of the industry. people use different terms. We hear the term energy transition, but we more and more are starting to hear more of an energy evolution, or a good partner of ours down at Port Fourchon, Chet Chasson, talks about an energy addition. It is the understanding that oil and natural gas is absolutely going to be needed, by all accounts and federal studies, nonpartisan groups. We know the needs for oil and gas will only increase over the next 50 years. Oil and natural gas is not going away. Fossil fuels are going to be needed, here at home and around the world. However, there is a responsibility in the industry, to reduce our carbon footprint. And you are hearing a lot of projects in carbon capture, in investments in biofuels, biodiesel. You are seeing investment in wind technology in the Gulf of Mexico. We're working with companies and organizations and business groups and governments at the local and state and federal level in all of these spaces, because the future, the next 100 years, is going to be a lower carbon future. For one reason, we know how to do it. We know how to do it better than anybody else. We are energy producers in Louisiana of all types. And just as we have evolved over 100 years, and we've become much more efficient, much cleaner, have found new technologies and have innovated to make the industry what it is today, that process doesn't stop right now. You don't ever get to a point to where all the work is done. The innovation ahead of us is exciting for the energy industry. It's exciting for the oil and natural gas industry. And when I think you look at LMOGA's next 100 years, it's going to be supporting this lower carbon industry, this industry that will literally fuel the world for the next century.
That is very exciting. What's the big news for the coming year for 2023?
Look, I think 2023 is exciting on two fronts. I do think, talking about a lower carbon future, I think we have already started to see significant announcements in the industry and investments in lower carbon fuels, in renewables. And I think by the time we get to the end of this year, you'll see even more. And we are cautiously optimistic that Louisiana will be granted Class 6 injection well primacy from the EPA, which would be a huge step in allowing Louisiana to be at the forefront of carbon capture technology and reducing carbon from the atmosphere. It's also a big year in Louisiana because we are hopefully going to see the finalization of a 5-year offshore leasing plan in the Gulf of Mexico for future oil and gas leases. We spent a lot of time on that in the last year. And I think despite some opposition at the federal level, with the help of bipartisan groups of members of Congress and local officials and the governor, we are on track to see a final 5-year plan, despite the unfortunate lapse we saw last year. That's going to be big for the Gulf of Mexico industry. And then I think we cannot talk about 2023 without talking about the fact that it's a statewide election year in Louisiana, where the rest of the nation got through most of their elections at the state and federal level last year. We like to do things in our own way in Louisiana. And so we will have a new governor elected this year. We'll have a new attorney general elected this year, and several members of the legislature are up for re-election. And there will be many open seats there. We have to stay engaged in the policy and politics of Louisiana, because our industry is just too important to not be at the table. And so we're excited about the opportunities of sharing the industry's story for the last 100 years and what's potentially coming for the next 100 years with candidates running for office right here, right now.
Tommy, thank you again for your time. I know it is valuable. Please know you're welcome back anytime.
Well, thanks for having me. And I invite everybody to join us in celebration of our 100th anniversary.
Absolutely. If you want more information on LMOGA, visit LMOGA.com. As always, we are most grateful for our audience. Please like and share this recording with colleagues. And for more industry news, videos, and webinars, please visit bicmagazine.com. And remember, it's what we do together that counts.